Hey guys, this is Coach Carly, and you're watching Bull Time. Here we are, another edition of Bull Time with Coach Carly. So today, you probably notice how short I am in this chair. We have a Fortress made by Buffalo Brew Fab, aka my desk. Kind of pretty dope, if I'm being honest. I really like how it turned out. It's just tall, so I look really fucking short. So when you're watching this and you realize if you look like, it seems like I look like I'm 5 foot tall, that's accurate. I look like I'm 5 foot tall in this chair. No, but it's a great desk. I love it. It's fucking amazing. I'm getting a new chair very shortly. So hopefully by October Bull Time, maybe you'll have a little bit more height here. And I'm not just at the mid-level of my computer screen. So September was a huge fucking month. September was dope. I got married, so I'm a married man now. Married man. We had back-to-back weekends of competing. We had the 3rd, the 10th, my wedding, which is like a competition because it's a lot of organization. And then we had a meet on my wedding day, which was, a whole lot of fun. So, we had about 7 of our own athletes competing this month, and it was awesome. A lot of big events happening. I feel like 2022, the back half of 2022 is really turning into the year of the male qualifying totals, which is kind of cool. We had Jackson this past summer meet for the Barbell and Brine, and then now we had a couple others that I'll talk about this upcoming month that really absolutely killed it, which is awesome. So a lot of big events happening coming up in October, but I'll talk about that after we talk a little bit more about what September brought us. So first off, we had Mr. Gregory Wunrow and Mariah Urban competed in the Stars and Stripes Open in Appleton, Wisconsin. Always like going to Appleton. The gym there, it's super nice. So when I first originally went there, it was peak COVID times. If it was July of 2020 was the first time I went to Appleton, Wisconsin, and masks were so required. It was like capacity limits. There was a bunch of different stuff happening, and the gym was like kind of awkwardly laid out. They had a lot of unnecessary walls there that weren't really like barrier walls. And we went to this gym now, like just in 2022, they did a ton of renovations since the last time I went there, which was probably over like a year and a half ago. Because I've been there now, this will be the 3rd time and or 4th time. And yeah, it was such a nice layout. The warm-up room, you didn't have to go through rooms or stand in a hallway to go on the meet. Quentin and his wife did a phenomenal job with the renovation, so it was really, really, really awesome. So we'll start with Mariah. Mariah killed it. Her squats were probably the easiest squats I've seen as a 3rd attempt PR in a meet in a long time. She smoked a 2.5 kilo PR. No, excuse me, 5 kilo PR, and that was so easy. We probably had maybe 10 more kilos, which is fucking insane. And then bench, we kind of had a little bit of a falter. She moved to Minnesota, started training with some actual legit powerlifters, which is awesome. But had, always getting the same handoff, getting the same things, doing all of those so habitually, and then going to the meet and feeling off, and that just happens. So, you're training with the same people, same time. That's kind of how barbell clubs, powerlifting gyms are. That just, admittedly, I think she was just thrown off at the meet, so she didn't know what to do for the bench, and that's totally fine. It's one of the variables in meets that is the most susceptible to variability. So didn't do as well in the bench, and then came back, hit a 2.5 kilo PR. Did 2.5 less in the bench than her best ever, and then 2.5 more in the deadlift. That was easy too, probably had about like 2.5, 5 more kilos. Pumped for her to actually come out here to Buffalo for her next meet, which would be super dope. Super fucking pumped for her to come out for the first ever Mustache women's only meet, which I think is ironic just because the name is Mustache Fitness and Barbell. And we're running a women's only meet. I know it's 2022 and everything is, gender fluid and all those things, but I just find it ironic that the name is Mustache Fitness and Barbell and we're running a women's only meet, or at least identify as a female. So I'm super happy about it. I'm super pumped about Kate, Maggie, and Leah all getting together and kind of pushing this. I think it's great to give back and have women feel comfortable. So then we had Mr. Greg. Mr. Greg finally didn't cut weight for the first time ever in recent memory. So I am so fucking happy that he didn't cut weight for the first time. We could have done more. We made a push on his last fucking deadlift, and unfortunately, his grip slipped, and we still ended up with a 10 kilo total PR, requalified for Nats. Just absolutely fucking stellar day. Really, really awesome day for him. Very happy about how he handled it. His energy was good all day. The strength was there. Just literally his grip just slipped. So that was really unfortunate. Shit happens though. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? So, but I'm really happy that we're taking a really slow build here. We might do like a meet as a heavy SBD, but we're just gearing up for nationals, putting together a fat fucking total for Nats. He really earned and deserved that meet. I mean, he's been working towards this for a long time. I mean, it was his 15th total meet, and we're still chipping kilos on there. It's not even like he's completely filled out to this weight class either, which is awesome. Next up, we went to Rochester, New York, not too far away. Chris Harris ran his, I think, first ever meet on his own without the state chair there. And they did a phenomenal job. Really liked going out there. They did a great job with the meet setup. They did a great job with everything that, we are excited to go out there and help out and be a part of that. I think it was a good way for us to go out there without having to run a meet, and vice versa when they come here, So they're doing a great job out there. I definitely want to talk to him about maybe running some other ones in some different months, so that way there's more for the Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo area to have choices for meets. But first off, we had Mr. Sam Malbranch and Sam first meet together. Sam's such a good dude. I love Sam so much. He is his own individual quirky self. He ended up with a deadlift PR, and he, it's our first meet together, so we're still learning. He first time competing in his weight class, and with the COVID, he didn't compete since the COVID shutdown. So for Sam to come back out here and do as well as he did, change up things, as close to the meet as he did, I really can't complain. He absolutely smashed everything that we were intending on doing. He missed one squat, which was his last one, hit all 3 of his benches, and actually the last one probably looked the easiest out of all of them. So just super pumped about what's to come, keep building on this, and then just keep pushing that envelope to get him qualified for nationals, which is awesome. And then next up we had Mr. Austin Bauer. Mr. Austin and I have a very special relationship. Austin's such he's a good kid. I love Austin to death. as much as he might piss me off, he also makes me real happy on the inside. And he is also the guy that will give you his shirt off the back if he only had one shirt. And I'm really happy that he finally, what I like to say, put it together. He finally did all the things that he's supposed to do in a meet. He didn't cup for the first time, which is awesome. So he went in there heaviest as he's ever been, which is fine. We're not qualifying for anything, but still the pressure of the meet, sometimes gets to him. But we made all of the perfect calls. I sandbagged his bench. I'm sorry, Austin. You had 200 kilos that day, bud. I sandbagged you. But overall, just a really, really, really solid day. Really solid execution from him. And we ended with PRs in every single lift on the platform and just a 20 kilo total PR day. I'm super elated. And a 9 for 9 day for him as well. 8 for 9 for Sam, 9 for 9 for Austin, and then Mr. Mike Hennessy went 9 for 9. This is, it's kind of incredible. This is Mike's second meet. We've literally been training. So he's moved to Buffalo a year ago. I don't think we started training until probably October, November when he moved here. It wasn't anything crazy because then we trained for a meet in the Gotham meet. And then, we're learning about each other a little bit, and we noticed Mike, traveling for Mike messes him up. Not having enough sleep definitely messes him up, and when he doesn't have enough food, it definitely messes him up. And what I mean by that is it messes everyone up, but this is like a completely fucked his whole life up kind of deal. And he was high stress too. I mean, he got married a day before I did, and he competed 2 weeks before that. So you can only imagine what your body's going through at that point. And I think post meet, everything just hit him. What was happening, and I'm glad that he still got to enjoy the day and not feel complete like shit. But Mike, his second meet hits a 37.5 kilo total PR, same body weight, qualifies for nationals, invites to the primetime meet that we're running in January. Just an absolute incredible fucking performance for Mike, with room in the tank too. It's not like we, completely emptied the tank. It was really awesome to see. He's got such a great fucking future for him. So I'm very happy about what's to come. I'm very happy about what I see from him. Again, another guy qualified for Nats. We're just building our team up, and super pumped to see him grow in the next year, because Nationals is literally a year from when they competed. And then moving on to our last two peeps. So I wasn't able to go to this one. Again, I was getting married the day before that they competed. I got married the 24th, and they were competing on the 25th, which was that Sunday. So we had Catherine O'Brien compete at the Murder of Crows Super Total Weekend down in Brooklyn. And so I didn't expect Catherine to total PR. She went 5 of 9, missed 2 benches, a squat, and a deadlift. Obviously when I'm there, game day coaching, I could probably make some adjustments and help them through that process just a little bit more. But I would say that, I'm not there, so I put the plan together in hopes that things go according to plan. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Watching the videos, I could tell that the weight cut definitely took a little bit more out of her. So, backstory, Catherine, this was our first prep together, and she's wild, and in a good way. She does everything. You want to talk about someone who wants to be engaged in almost every single sport imaginable, that's Catherine. She's a high-level cyclist, a really strong power lifter, does running. She also is a full-time coach. So she's got a whole lot of things going on. And when I mean a high-level cyclist, I'm talking high mileage cycling, like high mileage cycling. And she also lost 8 kilos. So she went from an 82.5 kilo class all the way to a 67.5 kilo class. And yeah, so we didn't hit a total PR. We did 25 kilos less than our best. Again, probably could have been adjusted a little bit based on what I saw. We could have made some minor adjustments there. Maybe that doesn't go as low as 25 kilos, but we can only do with what we're given. And I wasn't there watching anything, unfortunately. So next time that we can make better adjustments, stay into this class. Now it's about finding that balance, right? For her and anyone that does so many different sports, that ability to make everything work is sometimes kind of difficult. And we're really trying to figure out what that balance of baseline can be. Is it something that we can do 2 days a week, do 4 days a week, do 3 days a week? Are we doing all variations? Are we doing a lot of accessory work? What's our stretching, mobility, soft tissue work looking like on her off days? So there's so many different variables that can go into it. And, at the end of the day, this is something that she does for fun. The cycling is something that she does because she enjoys it as well. She's been a full-time coach, so she's always going. And we need to figure out what a balance is for her moving forward. And that's been most of our discussions is about just taking care of her body to be able to handle this type of workload long term, and especially with losing as much weight as she did, what can we do long term to help her through that? So, but overall, I'm really happy about how that went. Last but not least, we had Miss Geraldine Goldberg. This was Geraldine's first meet back into the 56 kilo class. We did a little tune-up meet. I talked about it over the summer. I think it was closer to like the June, July-ish timeframe, maybe even earlier, like May. So this was like kind of our first meet back into the swing of things. I laid out a plan, and again, I'm not there that day, so it's hard to say what was there, what wasn't. Maybe you needed to change openers because of that, things weren't feeling right. I know Geraldine is all about a feel in the meet, so sometimes if it doesn't feel right, she'll adjust things, but things, didn't necessarily go exactly our way. She also had a lot of life things that led up to that day of being high stress going into that. The last essentially month and a half of prep, essentially a big time frame, big things for work that you're looking to do, in conjunction with peaking and, the heaviest amounts of weights that you're doing. So, things didn't line up. Things probably felt a lot heavier than normal. And we ended up going, 5 for 9 and did 17.5 kilos less than our best. So wasn't necessarily our best day, but we learned from everything. We learned what to do and what we can do better. And we talked about it after the meet about what we can do attempt-wise and what we can do going into the meet to help us prepare for that. A lot of it, I guess this is a good way to talk a little bit about attempt selections. So, we have this plan put together, and this is for anyone, right? So we put a plan together for our lifters. Zach, Matt, Molly, and I, and Britt all put attempts together for people based on what we think in lieu should happen, right? So we have a first, a second, and a third. We have usually ranges for the second and the third, but the openers are pretty set in stone. And we do that based on how prep went, how peaking went, how many times you've hit these numbers, what looked comfortable, what looks normal. At the end of the day, 5 pounds really isn't that big of a deal. Things happen. So, being around the numbers that I think that we can what we like to be a layup on the first one. And then again, the attempts in theory are all written out already. And then after that, we go a little bit more into, okay, what did the day bring us? Did the day give us the plan? Did the day not give us the plan? Did the day allow for us to, let's just keep rolling with everything because everything just looks dynamite and on point? Yeah, that happens. That is more than normal. Sometimes we don't even need to make adjustments, but most of the time, based on how things look, whether it's nerves, whether it's, your body just couldn't handle it that day, your body's a little tired, who knows what it could be, weight cuts, we adjust things to get the most out of the day. And I can't stress that enough, and this goes for all athletes. Like, we put numbers in there as almost like placeholders to be like, this is what we think we're gonna do. It doesn't actually mean that we're gonna take that. It means that we're going to hope that that number is what's going to be there, not necessarily be like, that's a dead set, like we're doing this. There's strategy that comes into it. Again, a lot of it is also, what is the goal? Is the goal to just kind of blow it out of the water? Is the goal to have fun? Is the goal to go 9 for 9? Is the goal to get the most out of the day? Is the goal to qualify for something? Is the goal to set yourself up for something big in this? There's so many different things that can go into why you need that to happen or why that should happen that way. And all we can do is just take what the day gives us and go from there. And that's all there is to it. And that's why game day coaching is so important. So I apologize to Catherine and Geraldine that, I couldn't be there for your guys' meets this weekend. And I know next time that we'll all be together, that will work out for us. And game day coaching is so important. It gives you that opportunity to make the best calls for that person based on what you're seeing. You're the coach, you're the person doing those things. You want to see what's working best and make the right attempt calls based on what you see. And I think that's goes a long way, and I think every powerlifting coach can agree with that. That's kind of the mantra and the setup that we take. Is game day coaching is so important. It's such an integral part to what the numbers look like on that day, right? Like, it's all about visualization. It's all about seeing it. And sometimes, that works out in our favor, and, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't. So I will always be more of the conservative, especially if we're trying to do something big. I want to make sure that we set ourselves up to go 5 of 6, 6 of 6 going into deadlift, so that way we're putting that big number together, because at the end of the day, the only number that matters in powerlifting is the total, not the individual lifts. Unless you go to Worlds, which I'm going to in 5 days. So then you can actually medal in those individual lifts. So that is all for today on this episode of Bull Time, the September edition. So hope you enjoyed that. And we got a lot of things planned in October. Like I alluded to before, we have a meet on the 1st, on the 8th, on the 9th, on the 10th, on the 11th, on the 15th in 1, 2, 3 different places, and one on the 23rd. So stay tuned. We got a lot of shit all over the country and all over the world, for that matter, coming up in October. So we'll see you soon.